Jury in the trial of George Wagner IV today learned about weapons found on family properties in the months after the 2016 Pike County massacre.
Wagner is on trial for his alleged role in the murder of 8 members of the Roden-Gilley family. James Pilcher joins us live in Waverly, where the trial entered week 5 today. James?
Paula, state investigators turned their attention to the Wagner family ranch about a little bit more than a year after those murders, but very shortly after 2 extensive searches of the Wagner family home. Now, Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation agents found dozens of guns inside the main house at that ranch, owned by George Wagner's grandmother, Frederica Wagner. One of those guns they seized was a 9mm Beretta, matching the serial number on a receipt signed by George Wagner IV just 5 days after the murders. Prosecutors allege Wagner bought it to replace one of the actual murder weapons after the crimes. Wagner's father, Billy, is also accused in these Pike County murders, and he was living at the Flying W Ranch at the time of the murders. Prosecutors also introduced a camouflage jacket with bloodstains on it, but they didn't say whose blood it was during today's session. BCI agents tried to keep their interest in the Wagners as quiet as possible, but after the searches, the Wagners knew they were in the spotlight.
It's kind of out of the bag at that point. They know what's happening because there was helicopters flying around from the news media, and they had called us about it. They were alerted to it as well, so they had contacted me wanting to know what we were looking for. So at that point, it's out of the bag. They know we're focusing in on them.
Now, that's Ryan Scheiderer. He's the BCI agent who led the 2-year investigation that ultimately resulted in the arrests of not just George Wagner, but his father, Billy, his mother, Angela, and his brother, Jake. Now, none of these weapons introduced today were the actual murder weapon. Prosecutors intend to introduce that later. They say that Jake actually led them to those weapons when he confessed. Now, we don't know yet who's quite going to be on the stand tomorrow. Prosecutors are keeping that pretty close to the vest. Live in Waverly, James Pilcher, Local 12 News.
James, let me ask you this as we're entering week 5. Is this how long the trial was expected to go? Does it seem like it's progressing as we expected, or faster, slower?
Actually, I've been talking to the prosecutors, and this is actually going much slower than they anticipated. At this point, we expect this to extend at least into the first, if not the second week of November, given all of the evidence that's being introduced piece by piece and how slowly it's going. Plus, the defense has had a lot of objections to some of this evidence, and that's led to a lot of side conferences with the judge.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. All right, thank you, James, for weighing in on that. Local 12 News has continuing coverage of the Pike County massacre trial on the air and online, and you can watch a live stream when court is in session on local12.com.